Good morning, everyone. So I'm headed up to New York for the next couple of days of work. While I go up there, I want to explain something to you. The biggest question that I get on my channel is how I do little animations of the airplanes from place to place. So let's get rolling, and when I get to the airport, we'll place it into the video and go from there. Hey, I'm Brian. Good, how are you? I don't know if you caught that, but what I'm talking about is the little video that showed the airplane going from one place to the other. Let's get to the hotel and I'll show you how I did it. Spin out of here. All right, so we made it in New York City. You can tell. And my tiny Sheraton hotel room. So let's sit down and see if I can show you how to do these maps. All right, so here we go. First things first, you need an airplane, which I have right here. And if we're gonna make a shadow of it, we're gonna need to make it black and white. So if you open it with Photoshop, okay, so we have the airplane in Photoshop. It's a nice small, like 200 pixel plane. You go to the little effects here, color overlay, and you can change this to whatever color. Because we're using it as a shadow, I like to make it a normal grayish. There we go. Hit OK. And now we'll export this. Quick export as a PNG. It'll save it to the same folder and we'll call it Airplane BW for black and white. No need to save the original one. In our folder now we have a JPEG map of JFK Airport, a map of our route, which is just a screen grab from SkyVector with DCA and JFK, and then our two airplanes. I'll delete this original project, and then I have just some lame drone footage from Miami last week or 2 weeks ago. Which we'll use as the base for our video, but it really doesn't matter what this is. So let's open Premiere. We'll create a new project, which I will just call Demo Maps. Now in the editing pane, I'll pull in all of these assets, and they're here. Now we can import the drone footage, which then creates a 1080 timeline, which is exactly what we want. And the first thing we're gonna do is make our little map overlay of the entire flight. So for that, the lowest layer we want is our map. So now we have it here. We can expand it to fill out the entire screen. Then the layer on top of that will be our black and white airplane, because that's our shadow airplane. So we'll put that right there. And then our third layer on top of that will be our actual colored airplane. So they're all in the same position now. Let's say we want this to last 5 seconds, so we'll expand this to, oh, it's already at 5 seconds, so that's perfect. Okay, so first things first, let's move the shadow to the correct position. If we go into the effects tab over here, we can move it, and there it is. It appears in the place where we want it. Take it down to Washington. You can do this two ways. You can do it by moving the coordinates position here, or you can actually just double click on it and then drag it anywhere. And now we're going to reorient it to face the right direction. There we go. 54 degrees. And I think I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller, so I think our 70% scale should be just about right, and you can just type that in. Okay, now we're going to bring the other airplane to match, so we want it to be at 345 by, let's go, 967. Okay, so the other airplanes, we go 345, and it moves it laterally to the left. 967. Moves it there. We'll scale it down to 70 so that it matches the other one, and we'll rotate it to 55. And boom. Oh, 976. And now I thought they both matched. 3, 4, 5, 9, 6, 7. 3, 4, 5. 9, 6, 7. Oh, I bet the anchor point is not in the same place for both of them. Make sure that the anchor point is in the same place for both. 85, 75. 85. You have to make sure that the anchor point is in the same place for both in order for them to match. Okay, so now we have both airplanes here. If I turn the colored one off, you can see the gray one underneath. That's perfect. Now, okay, so we want to go to the beginning, put our timer at the beginning of the animation, and we want to throw keyframes for position and scale for both of the airplanes, so both the black and white plane and the colored plane. And then we'll go to the end, or actually we'll go like a second before the end, and we'll throw another position keyframe. So first we'll do the colored one, which we have highlighted, and we know that at the beginning, if you click the little arrow right here, it'll take you back to the beginning. We want it in that position, and at the end, we want it to be at JFK. So let's just double click on it, grab it, and drag it all the way up to JFK. Now on this plane, the other thing we want to do is, for emphasis, we want to grow it in the middle so it looks like it's climbing in altitude. So we're going to go scale, take it to the middle of the animation, and take the scale up to, let's say, 120%. It looks nice and big. And we're also going to throw a keyframe and drag it a little bit off of the center line here. So it looks like it's climbing by getting bigger, but it's also moving off of the center line. And that's perfect. So let's replay this one real quick and see how it looks. See, the plane gets bigger, moves off to the side, and then comes back in. Now what we want to do is repeat both for the second plane, for the shadow airplane. So here, the shadow airplane, we already have the keyframes at the beginning. So if we go back to the other plane, click to the end, we can go and make sure that the shadow airplane has the same keyframes. So now we'll just move the shadow airplane all the way up to that position to match our original one. There we go. So let's take a look at it. Perfect. The other thing we might want to do is, on the shadow airplane, just take the opacity down to around 75% so it looks like a shadow rather than looking like a solid gray airplane. I think that looks about right. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so that's number one. Super easy. All you have to do is throw a couple keyframes in here to drag along. For project number two is animating the airplane across the airport. So let's take this map, shrink it down just a little bit. And I'm actually going to rotate it 90 degrees so you can actually see it better. There we go. Now we can expand it a little. So let's say we landed on runway 31. What we'll do is place the airplane on runway 31 at Papa Alpha. Oh, I didn't have the airplane highlighted, I had the map highlighted. But there we go. Plane is highlighted. 3-1 at Papa Alpha. And let's point it in the correct direction. There we go. Okay, let's throw a keyframe here for both position. You don't necessarily need scale because it really doesn't matter. And rotation, because this is what we want. Now, highlighting away from here, clicking anywhere, and not highlighting any of the items, we're gonna take the pen tool, and we're actually gonna draw a line. So Papa Alpha to Bravo to Lima to the gate. And we'll turn off the fill under the appearance here and turn on stroke and change the stroke color to purple because it's like a GPS track, so purple is the more standard one, but it could be any color you actually like. And increase the stroke thickness to around, let's take a look, 10 pixels. There we go. Looks pretty good to me. All right, so we're at the beginning of this one. By the end of it, we want the airplane to be at the gate. So let's go to the end of it. Let's highlight the airplane. And let's place it at the gate. Okay, so it's there. Also, we want to make sure that the plane is above the path line. There we go. Okay, so now the plane moves from there to there. So we're going to need a couple more keyframes in order to get in. So keyframe number 1, we want to put the plane getting off on Papa Alpha and going on to Bravo. So basically, if we play about that many frames, we'll throw a position keyframe here and a rotation keyframe, and we'll move the plane up to Bravo and rotate it this direction. Let's see how that looks. Hit play. There we go. It's not bad. We could throw a secondary keyframe right in the middle here to place the plane more onto Papa Alpha, and then a secondary rotation plane. And let's see how this one looks. There we go. Okay. So now it's going flying directly over the taxiways. We don't want that. So from here to here, basically, we'll throw another position keyframe and move the plane to whatever this intersection is. There we go. Let's take a look. That turn seems a little bit abrupt, so what I'm going to do is make this a little bit longer and this a little bit longer and just make them match. The cool thing is that they snap into place with Premiere. Alright, let's see how this looks. Okay, so now we're going there. Looks pretty decent, except for the last bit. So from here, let's go a few frames over. Actually, we'll go to here and throw a rotation keyframe right there. Then we'll go a few frames over, throw another rotation keyframe in, and the plane will start making this turn. Perfect. Let's take a look. Goes down to taxiway Bravo. Ah, there it is. Okay, so from here we'll do another position one. And then the final position one, we want it to actually be right about there. Let's see how it looks. That looks pretty good. Now, for this one, I think we can adjust the turn a little bit. Yep. It just seems like it's coming off the taxiway really fast. So what we're gonna do is grab this keyframe, move it a little bit, this keyframe, and match it. That turn is a lot less abrupt now. And then we're gonna grab, oops, wrong one. Control Z always fixes it. Grab this keyframe and this keyframe, match those again, and the cool thing is that they cut to each other, and there we go. Okay, so there we go. We use keyframes to move the plane off the runway, up the taxiway, and all the way to its gate. You can do the same thing to go to the ramp or whatever you're doing with your airplane, or any animation for that matter. Obviously, this is using Premiere Pro on a PC. If you're on a Mac, Martin Pauly, I'll link him down below. He does Danza videos. He's really good, super thorough, has done an explanation of how to do the exact same thing on your MacBook using Final Cut. With that, I'm gonna let you guys go, and I'm actually gonna fly back to DC, and I'll do another one of these little animations. See you when we get back there.